Right now, there's things going on in our country and in our world that we can't control. And I never want to get political here at Hike Like a Woman, but I do want to talk about the current trade war and the effect that it's going to have on outdoor families like mine. I do feel qualified to talk about this because during COVID, I owned a very successful outdoor retail store and a very successful ski shop. And right now, I kind of see history repeating itself. The thought of the prices of quality outdoor clothing and gear that we use every single day rising kind of bums me out. I saw it right after COVID. Inventory was impossible to get. So not only are we about to see shortages of the outdoor clothing and gear that we love, but the price of those items is going to go through the roof. There's two things we can do here. We can either be super pissed off and angry about what is happening, and that is fair and valid, and or we can prepare ourselves for what is about to go down. Here's what I learned as an outdoor retailer during COVID. I learned that even if something says that it's made in the USA, chances are a buckle, a snap, a zipper, a fabric, some component on something is not made in the US. So the lack of a zipper, a buckle, a button, that could completely stall or shut down production of items that are still manufactured and produced in the United States. As an outdoor retailer, I was always buying and ordering a year ahead of time. So if it was Christmas of 2023, I was looking at inventory for Christmas of 2024. I was always a year ahead with my buying cycle. And if I didn't predict my sales numbers accurately, after COVID, it was really difficult to get more inventory. So let's say that I would order 100 pairs of skis. And if all of those skis were sold by the first part of November and I wanted to order more skis, I couldn't do that because there just wasn't any inventory available. These big outdoor brands were only ordering what they were guaranteed to sell. And I think that's going to happen again. The other thing that we're going to see is delays in shipments from equipment that's coming from overseas. Right now, something called blank sailing is happening where these large cargo ships are just skipping ports because manufacturers have canceled orders because they're not sure what's going to happen with tariffs. I saw this during the holidays of 2021. I had ordered all of my winter inventory, my skis, my snowshoes, my outdoor clothing and apparel, hats, gloves, mittens. I'd ordered that all a year before to be delivered to my shop by the end of August, the first part of September, and that order was delayed because it was coming on big cargo ships from overseas. And then once it got to the US, warehouses were super far behind getting trucks to ship those items out to my shop. And so I actually didn't get the orders that were supposed to arrive in September until the week before Christmas. I was delayed 4 months with my winter inventory, and quarter four was usually the biggest quarter for my shops, but it ended up being the smallest. I didn't have any inventory on my shelves during the busy holiday season. So I think we're going to see huge delays in the shipment of outdoor clothing and gear. And when those products actually get to shops, the prices are going to be really, really steep because businesses are going to pass the cost of those tariffs onto the consumer, onto people like you and me. Now, I'm an optimist, and I think that things are going to eventually stabilize in the economy. I think it's all going to work itself out eventually. I think over the next year or the next 2 years, things are going to be a little bit weird and chaotic and disruptive and expensive. But I don't think it's all doom and gloom. I think it's going to stabilize. And right now, this just provides us the opportunity to get a little creative with outdoor clothing and gear. Here's what my family's doing to kind of get ahead of all of this. First, we are doing a massive inventory of all of our outdoor gear. We're looking at bikes, we're looking at skis, we're looking at camping equipment, and we're thinking, what is it that we're going to have to potentially replace in the next 2 years? For instance, I know that I have another trip to Kilimanjaro coming this summer. I already have a trip on the books for 2026, and I'm already looking at scheduling for 2027. So I know I'm going to be going to Tanzania at least for 3 more years to climb Mount Kilimanjaro, and that's going to put wear and tear on my equipment, especially my backpack, my boots, and my trekking poles. So I'm looking at those three things specifically and trying to figure out how many more years, how many more climbs I can get out of those items. The next thing I'm doing is I'm looking at our family budget. And I'm looking over the last couple years at how much money we've spent on all things outdoors. And I found that my family tends to spend a whole lot of money on shoes, bikes, bike accessories, ski boots, winter coats and jackets, gloves, mittens, sunglasses, and ski pants. So those are the things that I'm prioritizing when I'm looking at what we currently have and what we could potentially need in the next 2 years. And it makes sense that we spend a whole lot of money on footwear every single year because my kids are growing. I'm making a list of the sizes that my kids currently wear and projecting the next couple years. My goal is to have the next 2 sizes up in things like shoes, ski boots, mittens, coats, and ski pants. But the problem is when my husband and I put together our annual budget and we allocated a certain amount of money every single month for clothing and gear, I didn't allocate spending a ton of money in May and in June on outdoor clothing and gear. So I'm going into full sell mode and I'm going through the attic, I'm going through closets, and I'm seeing what I can sell right now to put a little bit of extra money in the clothing and gear budget so I can buy a little extra in the next sizes up right now. And it's a good time to be shopping before prices get too outrageous and because of all of the Memorial Day sales coming up. We already sold a bike that one of my kids had outgrown, so that put a little bit of extra money into the gear budget, which is fantastic because I'm going to spend it. The final thing that I'm doing is I'm going to spend some time getting a little crafty here on the YouTube channel, learning how to repair some of the outdoor clothing and gear that's already in my closet, like this coat I have with a broken zipper. I'm going to get out my sewing machine and I'm going to figure out if I can learn how to sew a zipper onto an old puffy jacket, because that's going to be another way to save money in the future when prices get really high. And if you own an outdoor retail store, I would caution you against putting your inventory on sale right now, and I would just hold on to it because I think you're going to have a hard time getting your hands on inventory in the next 6 months, 12 months, and you're going to need that inventory. So hold on to the inventory and then work really, really hard to get your business out of debt, because having a lot of cash in your bank account is going to be the best way to weather this storm. Now, as I said, I'm an optimist. I think it's all going to work out. I don't think there's any need to panic or freak out right now, but I think there's a few things you can do to get ahead of it. I hope that it gets figured out before we have inventory shortages and extremely high prices. But you know what? It's good to be prepared. I just want to make sure that my children have the outdoor clothing and gear that they need so that they can keep participating in the sports that they love. Thanks for letting me talk about this today. Now go check out this video next.